Welcome to day 4 of our 5-day Play the Keyboard Challenge. Thank you so much for sticking with me so far. I hope you're learning a lot and enjoying what you're learning by playing the songs that are applied at the end of each day. And so for today, we are going to learn how to play the major and minor chords on the black keys with your right hand. And then we will also learn part 3 of keeping time in music. So far, you should know how to use a metronome, how to decipher how many beats to play per measure, and what the bar lines look like and the repeat signs look like. And of course, we're going to learn a new song to apply everything that we've learned so far. And if you just happen to stumble upon this video and have no access to the worksheet yet, make sure you join the 5-day challenge below so that I can send that in your email along with the chord sheets that go with each day. Without further ado, let's get on to today's lesson. Previously, we've talked about how major chords are formed. In a chord, you need 3 notes, and those 3 notes consist of your root note, which is your starting note. To find your second note, you take 2 whole steps. To find your third note, you'll take a step and a half from that second note. And then as far as our right hand fingering goes, and our scale tones, we use fingers 1, 3, and 5, and also the scale tones of 1, 3, and 5. So based on that formula, we will figure out what our major chords are in the black keys today. Before we go into that, let's also review a little bit of how minor chords are formed. For minor chords, our formula is starting from the root. You take a step and a half to find your second note. From that second note, you take 2 whole steps to find your third note. So if you were coming from a major chord, you're basically just changing your middle note, bringing it down half a step or making it a flat note to make it a minor chord. In terms of scale tones for a minor chord, you are using 1, flat, 3, and 5. As far as your right hand fingering, it stays the same as your major chords, which is 1, 3, and 5. Let's go into the major chords in the black keys, and then we'll talk about the minor chords after that. Major chords, we start with a C sharp, which is our black key to the right of our C notes. For a C sharp major, our root note will be C sharp. To take whole steps from that, we get an F. From the F, to take a step and a half, we get a G sharp. So our C sharp major chord has a C sharp, F, and G sharp. Or if we want to look at it in terms of the D flat major, using the same notes but called differently, we have a D flat, F, and A flat. From there, we can derive the G sharp or E flat major. Our root note will be D sharp. G is our second note. And then from there, we find the A sharp. So our D sharp major has D sharp, G, and A sharp. And again, the D sharp is the same as an E flat. So in terms of flats, it'll be called E flat, G, and B flat. So our third major chord after D sharp will be the F sharp major, or also known as the G flat major. And so for the F sharp, we have F sharp, A sharp. That's 2 whole steps from the F sharp. From A sharp, we'll take a step and a half. That'll bring us to C sharp. So in terms of flats, we will have G flat, B flat,
D flat,
G sharp or A flat major. We've got for G sharp, we have G sharp, C, and D sharp. In terms of flats, we have A flat, C, and E flat. Our last chord on the black keys, or major chord, I should say, we have the A sharp, or also known as the B flat major. For A sharp, we have the notes A sharp, D, and then a step and a half from D will bring us to F. Or in terms of flats, we have B flat, D, and F. So that covers all our major chords in the black keys. Minor chords, again, it's the opposite. From the root note, you would take a step and a half. And from the second note, you'll take 2 whole steps to find your third note. The scale tones, again, are 1, flat, 3, 5. So if you're coming from the major chord, you're just changing that middle note, bringing it down half a step to make it a flat 3. But you're still using fingers 1, 3, and 5. So for our C sharp major, to make it a minor, we still have the C sharp for 1 and the G sharp for our 5, but our 3 will become an E. In terms of D flat minor, you're going to have the notes D flat, E, A flat. And then the next one will be our D sharp minor or E flat minor. Again, we have the 1 and the 5 are still the same, but the middle note becomes an F sharp, or also known as the G flat. And then for our third chord, for the F sharp minor, you'll have the F sharp and the C sharp. Make it a minor, it'll be a natural A. What about our G sharp minor? What do you think is the middle note for this one? The B note. Finally, our A sharp minor, or also known as B flat minor, it will have the C sharp, or also known as the D flat for the B flat minor. In this video, we will cover the major and minor chords in the black keys. So let's start with the major chords. We said that our formula for a major chord is from the root note, we will take 2 whole steps, and then from there we will take 1.5 steps. So if our root note is a C sharp, or also known as the D flat, we would take 2 whole steps to get to our second note of the chord. So 1 whole step will bring us to E flat or D sharp. And then from there, our second whole step will bring us to F. So our 1 is the C sharp, and then our 3 is the F. From F, we would need to take 1.5 steps. So 1 whole step from F will bring us to G. An extra half step will bring us to G sharp, also known as A flat. So what makes up our C sharp, also known as the D flat? We have the C sharp or D flat note, we have the F note, and we have the G sharp or A flat note. So from there, we can just keep moving along the black keys. Since E flat, or also known as D sharp, is a whole step from C sharp, also known as D flat, we will just move all our notes from C sharp a whole step to bring us to D sharp. So let's do that. Okay, that gives us a D sharp or E flat, a G note, and an A sharp or a B flat. So this is our D sharp, also known as E flat. Okay, now let's move on to the F sharp, or also known as a G flat. Here we have the F sharp note, the A sharp, and the C sharp. Or if we want to look at it in terms of flats, we have our G flat, our B flat, and our D flat. Okay, next we'll get to our G sharp, which will have a G sharp, a C, and a D sharp, or an A flat, a C, and an E flat. And finally, our last black note is the A sharp, also known as B flat. So in terms of sharps, we have the A sharp, a D, and an F. Or we have a B flat, a D, and an F. Okay, so again, for the black keys, we have C sharp or D flat. We have D sharp or E flat. We have F sharp or G flat. G sharp or A flat. And A sharp, or also known as the B flat. Now let's make all those chords into minors. So for our minor, we said that we are just going to make our 3 from a major chord, make it a flat to make it a minor. So if our C sharp is C sharp, F, and G sharp, we'll make the 3 a flats, which will bring our F down to E. So this will make our C sharp minor, also known as the D flat minor. As far as our D sharp or E flats, to make it a minor, we'll make the G a flat. And so for our D sharp, we have a D sharp, F sharp, and an A sharp.
Or in terms of flats, we have an E flat, a G flat, and a B flat. Okay, what about our F sharp chord or our G flat? Let's make that a minor, which will bring our A sharp down to a natural A. So we have an F sharp, A, and C sharp, or also known as G flat, A, and D flat. What about our G sharp or A flat? To make the 3 a flat, we go from C to B. So we have our A flat minor or G sharp minor, which gives us a G sharp, a B, a D sharp, or an A flat, a B, and an E flat. Finally, our A sharp chord, let's make that a minor. The D will become a C sharp. So we will have our A sharp, C sharp, and F. Or in terms of B flat, we will have our B flat, D flat, and F. So for your exercise this week, I'd like you to go through each of the major and minor chords in the white keys and the black keys. So how do we do that? So we go from C to C minor, C sharp, C sharp minor, D, D minor, D sharp, D sharp minor, E, E minor, F, F minor, F sharp minor, G, G minor, G sharp minor, A minor, A sharp minor, and B minor. Okay, do that again. Do it with me. C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp minor, E minor, F minor, F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor, A minor, A sharp minor, and B minor.
Normally, when you're reading notes, they use different kinds of notes to indicate how many counts or how many beats a certain note is played or sang or used in that measure. But when you're just using chord sheets, typically to indicate one beat, we just use a forward slash like you see in this slide over here. And that forward slash indicates one beat in a measure, unless otherwise indicated. But for our purposes for today, on your chord sheet, you're gonna see these forward slashes. And that tells you how many beats to play a chord. So looking at our example here, right? The vertical lines indicate the measure. The first one indicates the beginning of the measure. The last one indicates the end of the measure. So G gets 2 counts. The first count is when G is noted. And the first slash indicates the second time it is used, or the second beat. After counting G for 2 beats, we go to A for the 3rd beat, and then A again for the 4th beat. Now, this slash is not to be confused with the forward slash in a slash chord, which we'll cover in the next course. We will cover it. That said, we can apply what we've learned today to the song Cornerstone.
In this video, we will apply what we learned about the major and minor chords on the black keys, as well as trying to switch chords in the middle of a measure. So for the intro, it's pretty straightforward. We have a C sharp major, an A sharp minor, an F sharp major, and a G sharp major. And these are actually all the chords you're going to need for the rest of this song. The thing to watch out for in the last line of verse 1, as well as most of the chorus, is switching chords in the middle of a measure. So for instance, the last line of verse 1, you're going from F sharp to G sharp in the middle of the measure. So you started with 2 counts of F sharp, and then you go to G sharp for the rest of the measure. For the chorus, there's a lot of switching going on also in the middle of the measure. So for instance, you're going to start with F sharp to A sharp minor, 4, G sharp, 2, C sharp, 3, 4, F sharp, A sharp minor, G sharp, C sharp, and so forth. So the thing to watch out for, again, is just to make sure you're changing to the right chord at the right time. So how do you do that when you're still learning these chords? Just slow down the song. It is 71 beats per minute, but if you have to start at 50 beats per minute, do that, and then increase your speed incrementally until you can do it at 71 beats per minute. I made the song short so you don't have to be overwhelmed by trying to learn the entire song. I just want you to be able to apply what you've learned so far. Of course, if you want to do more than that, you're more than welcome to do it. Intro, C sharp, 2, 3, 4, A sharp minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, F sharp, G sharp, verse 1. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. 3, 4, 1. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very well. So that should help you get used to using the sharp chords and their minor chords, as well as switching chords in the middle of a measure. Play the C scale in both hands together at 70 beats per minute. Keep working on the C scale because that's going to be your foundation for the next class. And then play all the major and minor chords on the white and black keys with your right hand. Finally, play cornerstone with your right hand only at 71 beats per minute, referring to the video for demonstration.